Alright, so welcome to Jacked Up Politics, local election special. My name's Jack. I'm a second year government and political science student. This evening I'm with Curley, local election candidate for the Cobh LEA. He's a candidate with the Independent Ireland Party, and he's also a local business owner who owns one of the local post offices here in Cobh. You're very welcome to the podcast, and thanks for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come on today.
Thanks, Jack. No problem.
So, Jared, just tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you own one of the local post offices in the town, but just give people a little bit of information about yourself, and just tell us a little bit about your and what's your story.
Born and bred in Cobh, Jack. Family of 9 altogether. Myself and 8 siblings. Joined the Navy at 17. Met the best people friends for life out of it. I suppose it changed me from a boy into a man, and it was a great start in life. In that time I served overseas, and I did various different jobs over there. So it was a great learning curve, and it was absolutely brilliant to have comrades that we really looked after each other. So that was the start. Then before I left the Navy, I got my first shop. I used to always do a bit in Powers news agent, so I bought my first shop. We got to the post office then about 2 years later, and we just went away and we kind of expanded business. Jack Doyle's came up for sale. We purchased that, and we had a great time. Enjoyed the work. Met loads of lads. Great Liverpool pub, and we had good times. But
I won't hold being a Liverpool support against you, because I'm a United supporter myself. But look, I'm sure we can find common ground somewhere.
We all have problems sometimes, Jack. But
exactly.
But no. So to be honest, kind of family business. We had all our family working there, and nephews and nieces, and it was great. We had great staff down through the years. They were absolutely fabulous. Then kind of, I suppose the downturn was, it was tough in business in Cobh. It was hard dealing with banks and everything like that. So we kind of sold a few of the businesses, and we kind of, I think COVID, made a big change, Jack. I think, especially to our trade, it has had a big effect on it. It has changed things forever, I think. And I suppose we decided we kind of had enough, and we changed. We kind of sold stuff, and we've the pub leased out now, and McMeany and the lads are doing a good job. So, I suppose I have a small bit of time on my hands now, so I was interested in politics. Going back years, so now is my turn to give this a shot if it can happen for me.
So I suppose that brings me to my second question, here. Why did you choose Independent Ireland? I know a lot of people are kind of saying, "Oh, there's not a very lot of difference between Fianna Fáil, Independent Ireland, and Fine Gael." But from your perspective, I'd like to hear why you chose Independent Ireland, because there must have been something about the party that attracted you to it, and that why it led you to run as a candidate for them in the local elections.
Well, Jack, I think there's a big difference between Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and Independent Ireland. First of all, I'm an independent. We don't, we still have our independence, and I think the Independent Ireland was got so that the independents could be stronger together. I think the big one that set me through Michael Collins down in West Clark was his really kind of outlook is that we want common sense politics. We're not left, we're not right, we're centre, but we'll take on what is common sense in Ireland. I think we've lost to run ourselves in this country, so we are independent. We're not affiliated to the parties, and I suppose there's nothing hanging to us either. So it's a brand new, and I think given a choice and being affiliated with a group gives us that bit of strength. Still independent, but gives us our strength that we can voice our opinions independently, and especially on local issues, Jack. Especially on
And I suppose that brings me to another question I was going to ask you, Ger, was we both know Cobh is nearly at breaking point in terms of school places and housing. And I just wanted to find out from yourself, Ger, what will be your main priorities if you get elected as a county councillor for the Cobh local electoral area? Because what a lot of people might not know about Cobh is it is vast. It goes all the way from Little Island in the west, all the way up as far as Knockgraha and Watergrass Hill in the north of the county, and all the way far east as Carricktool in the east of the local area. So it's quite vast. And I know you were telling me one day when I was talking to yourself before you came on this evening that it took you 50 minutes to get from Cobh up to Watergrass Hill, and that's just one part of the constituency.
Yeah, the constituency is vast. Like we've been working and again, and I've been meeting up with lots of local people in different areas. The one issue everywhere is housing, and it's absolutely the big issue is housing. The horrendous stories that you're listening to. We just haven't been building enough houses, and the simple answer is we need to build 60,000 houses a year. There's no other thing. We need to build 60,000 houses and to catch up on what we didn't build through COVID and previous years. The population is expanding, but we also have to get the infrastructure right, Jack. Like you hit on education there, like our primary schools are bursting. The secondary schools aren't too bad in that children are leaving the island, have choices to go on. But like for instance, water, like that new water plant built in Cobh 20 years ago, it's now at capacity, and people are struggling with water. So like that needs to be addressed. The road structures need to be addressed. Like down in Curley, it's shocking at the moment. Because of the roads, like going on to say the Tay Road there. So it needs to be urgently done there. But the structure isn't there. That the infrastructure, and that road probably won't be finished till the builders are finished. It's a problem there, and the only solution out is a one-way system. Because the speed on the Tay Road is absolutely horrendous, and I think everywhere around as well. You go up to Watergrass Hill, up to Whitechurch, Carrignavar. They're big issues. Speeding through villages,
Definitely, and I think what a lot of people in Cobh are very familiar with is just how dangerous the bottom of Ballywilliam is becoming at the moment. There was several nasty car crashes down there not too long ago, and Ballyleary. Yeah, my apologies, sure, you're correct, Ballyleary. At the bottom of Ballyleary, it's become quite dangerous. There was quite a lot of car accidents. There was quite a lot of car accidents down there over the last couple of months. I know myself, talking to a few good lads in Cobh Fire Brigade, or Cobh Fire Station, I should say. They've said that there was quite a number of incidents down that neck of the woods, and there was one not too long ago going down towards Cooline where a woman and her child had to be extricated from a car because the car rolled over and they needed to be extricated. And I think you make a very valid point, Ger, that the infrastructure does need to improve before we can upgrade any further housing developments or school developments in Cobh. And I think another thing, I know, and this is another question that people might have for you, Ger, is what would you like to see done for local businesses as well? Because I know you yourself used to be a local business owner, because I know myself as a young fellow when I was in Clostermurra here in Cobh, I used to frequent the shop quite a bit every Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, Jack, we fed lots of young lads, and they're It was great. Like again, businesses are struggling, pre-COVID, with the change, and then COVID has a big effect in Cobh. Um, the one thing that I always look at is the rates. The rates are very unfair. In fact, when we started off 24 years ago, your rates included your refuge and your water. Now they're separate, and your people are paying 5,000-6,000 euros a year more on that. And even there, Chris and Nardi got on to me there recently about putting out an advertisement board outside his door, being charged 600 euros now for it on top of rates. It's ridiculous. But this is stupidity as far as I'm concerned. And then this premises idle at the moment. We need to encourage people to take up them premises, and a rate would be a big one for that. Like, there's vacant premises out there at the moment, and 100% of nothing is nothing. So, like, if it was down to maybe free for the first year, 50% for the second and third year, and then you want full year rates on year 4, because it's so hard starting off business, and the costs are so hard setting up, that would be a big one. I think a big one nationally is we have to get down to the 9% VAT rate, especially the tourist town. The 9% has affected especially the restaurants big time. So I think that's a change that has to be done nationally.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Because if you think about it, hotels have the accommodation side that they can charge 9% on, as well as the kind of food and beverage side that they can charge 9% on. And as well, if they're doing a function in the hotel, they can also charge 9% on that. Whereas somewhere like yourself, who used to have Jack Doyle's, which was a lovely bar and restaurant in its day, you had to pay that 9% on all food and beverage items. And that I'd imagine, Jared, that kind of took a very hefty toll out of the bottom line for you at the end of every month.
You see, Jack, we're being increased on electricity and everything as well. We're paying top dollar. The carbon tax as well, is affecting everybody. So it's just adding extra costs.
Unnecessary costs, some might say.
Like the wages are high, and look, minimum wage people deserve that, but it's just all at once. I think it's just been too much put on businesses, and especially now in Cobh, we're perceived as a tourist town. So from October to March, a lot of premises are dead.
Definitely. I think what's kind of cruise liner season ends in Cobh. Quite a lot of people forget that Cobh exists. It kind of gets very, very quiet, and not a lot of people kind of would visit Cobh during the winter months, because I know myself, I used to work in the tourism industry in town last year. I used to work on Spike Island as a tour guide, and once September, October time hit, it kind of it was like a complete different environment. You'd kind of go from, say, having 6 to 7 11 boats a day down to having 2. That's the stark contrast of it all. And I'm going to ask you another question, if you don't mind. Would you think that going back to the way the rates were 23 years ago, where they included your water and they included your refuse, might be a viable economic motive that the council could pursue in the next 5 years?
Well, they're not going to do that, Jack, because the water. There was big protests about the water, so maybe that could be one that could be taken back over. But Ishgare are in charge of that now, and as good as privatised, and the refuge is the same. But it's just that they need to be, looked at rates, and the difference in rates in from one place to another. I know one area just outside town where their premises would be as big as mine, and they were paying $2,000 a year rates, and we were paying $7,000 in rates. So that has to change. That has to change.
Definitely. Especially if there's to be equality in kind of small to medium sized businesses in the town, that I think the rates kind of do need to be standardized for businesses as well. But another question I might ask you, Ger, is when we were talking last week, we were talking about the Fota Road. And I know you expressed some concerns to me last week about having an increased Garda presence on the Fota Road to kind of reduce the people that are speeding on their mobile phones and kind of overall improve road safety. And I think what I want to do there now is I kind of just want to get you to kind of talk about that, because I thought that was a very good point that you made, that we kind of do need to be pushing on Garda Síochána and to put more guards on the roads to ensure that road safety is upheld, because I think at the moment it's become quite lackadaisical.
Well, first of all, Jack, we need a new Fota Road. We're 25 years down since, it has been mooted, and we thought we were nearly there 25 years ago. You can see in certain areas where, the prospects of widening it wouldn't be too bad. So the first thing we need is a new Fota Road, and we need it fairly quick. Like central government are blaming, you're saying councils have the thing. Councils are saying they need money from central government. There's a study now, I think, going out, has cost 150,000 to, look, you and me, on the dogs' feet, we need a new road. Certainly speed is a big one. I think, inclement weather, the speed that is going on all around, it's in all areas in our constituency. It's everywhere. So I think, it definitely needs it. Garda presence is a big one, I think. We just probably don't have enough Gardaí at the moment, but it certainly needs, to education on speed, because these crashes are horrendous, and and fearing people's lives, so
definitely,
yeah, that is definitely.
And I often kind of think to myself as well that councillors are put under a lot of pressure nowadays to kind of do a lot more with a lot less kind of budget, kind of like compared to 5 to 10 years ago, that councillors are very limited in what you can do. And I think anyone going into politics, or even local politics, is to be commended here. And I think your idea of getting the Fota Road widened has to be really pushed to the council, who should then push it to the National Transport Authority to ensure that it happens. Because let's think about it. There's only two ways in and out of Cobh. You're the ferry and the Fota Road. And I think if either one of them is out of action, you have a bottleneck. And we saw that last week when there was a car crash on the Fota Road and the traffic was backed up for miles.
Yeah, look, the Fota Road isn't fit for purpose. It's not. We just need a new road, and I think we just, after this election, if I'm elected, and anyone that is elected, it has to be the number one priority, other than housing. In the town of Cobh. Yes.
Now, I know there'll probably be a lot of young people watching this year, and kind of I want to get your take on this. What would your advice be to anyone that's looking to go into local politics be?
Well, I'm not in it yet, Jack. So I suppose anything that interests people is great. I remember years ago there used to be a young chamber. Even getting involved in that, getting involved in any committees or any sport, is a big thing. So, maybe get involved in something local in your community, any towns, anything. So, just get involved in your community first, and then see what can do. And it's great to see, there probably needs to be younger people involved, to have their input and have different ideas. So, I would encourage anyone that has the interest to get involved, Jack.
Well, I think you're dead right there, because I know myself, for years I used to be involved with Cobh Sea Scouts and the Red Cross, and then when I kind of got a bit older, I kind of left them, and then I've only recently myself got back to Cobh Lions Club, and I think for anyone listening out there, I think anyone that wants to get involved in your local community, um, I highly recommend you get involved with Cobh Lions Club. They're an amazing organisation. They do lots for the town, and I think as well that the Lions Club do a lot of behind the scenes work for the people in Cobh. And I have to give a big shout out to Mike Sheehan and Greg Hamilton, who are two lads I know from the Cobh Lions Club, and everyone else I know in the Lions Club as well. I have to give them a big shout out as well. But it was Greg and Mike who got me involved in the Lions Club just over 18 months ago. And I'm very grateful that they did, because I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And I think that that's very true what they're saying, that like you have to get involved in your local community, you know, because I think when you get involved in your local community, you start to understand the issues a bit more, you know.
Yeah, exactly, Jim. Exactly.
Now, there's another question I had for you here, Ger, was the healthcare situation in Cobh at the moment is, I wouldn't say it's at breaking point just yet, but it's nearly there, you know, kind of like the healthcare system in Cobh is being pushed. We know all the GPs in Cobh are getting older, you know, they're nearing retirement age. What would you like to see healthcare wise on a local level done over the next 5 years?
Well, the first thing I Jack, is that our community is getting older. Primary care is a big one, but especially the older generation. Cobh Hospital, they're absolutely, Toddy Stafford and Erica up there are brilliant. Probably needs to be expanded, but like there's certain people that are residents in Cobh that aren't in Cobh at the moment, and they're down in Leamlaw and the likes of that.
Yeah.
If we had more capacity there, it'd be absolutely fabulous, because I think that's a big one, especially, you know, when people they're nearest and dearest, and they have to travel to see them, and you know, it's a struggle to get to see them from day to day if they're living out of town. So I think that's a big priority for us in Cobh. I think the second one has to be in the A&E. Like everyone that has a scratch or needs 2 or 3 stitches ends up going to A&E. There has to be a smaller A&E, you know, like a quick fix, like the Cobh Hospital used to be years ago. If you need a few stitches, you went up and the local nuns and nurses took care of you. I think that is more needed, because look, the GPs are stretched to the limit, and you know, they're just, it's kind of everything is being sent up to the A&E, and the A&Es are full. Hospitals are full because we don't have any step down centres. We need step down centres, and that is the thing with an aging population. You absolutely need more hospitals and more care, and that is absolute must.
Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. And final question I'm going to ask you now, Ger, and is, say you're elected now in about 2 weeks' time, and you're in, and we're at this stage now in 5 years' time, you're after being elected, you're after completing your first term as a county councillor. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Well, hopefully I'm still here again. But no, look, like I'm passionate about my town. I've, as I said, 24 years in experience in the town. So, like, I'm going to try and put all my experience into the next 5 years. Like, as you said, housing is a big one. If we could get anything solved around that, I just think on the housing side of it, we need to turn around the houses. If there's houses given up or there's houses vacant, they need to be turned around in 6 to 8 weeks, not be left out in 8 or 10. And I can guarantee you, there's probably 15 or 20 houses in this town at the moment that are vacated, and I mean, there doesn't need too much work done, and they could be filled up. So I think that's a big one. I just look, if I can help anybody, that's what I'm interested in. Help anyone with any issues that they have. I feel I'm a good listener. I like solving problems or getting to the bottom of it, and you know, sit down and talk rather than arguing, I think is a big one.
Definitely.
It solves issues a lot more than, getting your back up and things. Everything can be resolved. So, look, I just hope I get in because I want to represent my town. As I said, I'm passionate about it, and I want to do the best for the people of the city.
I think you're, in fairness, in terms of candidates, I think you're a very genuine candidate, and I think that speaks volumes for the message you're trying to get across for the people of Cobh. And to the people that will be listening to this, if he could give Ger your number one preference, I know he would greatly appreciate it. And it's people like Ger that hopefully will make Cobh a better place over the next 5 years by by putting pressure on the county council to make sure there's more housing stock made available for people on the housing lists with the council, and ensuring that essential road repairs on the Foda Road take place, making sure that the primary healthcare centres here in Cobh the primary healthcare centre here in Cobh is made to ensure that a certain level of care is being met. And I do think what Ger said about a minor injury unit or a medical assessment unit going in to the primary care centre would be beneficial for the people in Cobh, and I think that point needs to be hammered home by other candidates as well, that it would make a fantastic addition to the town. And I know there was talks about them putting an MRI machine, an X-ray machine in there, but I think a small medical assessment unit or a small minor injury unit would actually do the town even greater, because imagine, we all know how clumsy people can be. I know myself, I'm extremely clumsy. When from time to time, I trip over my own feet from time to time. And I think for people like myself who are a small bit more clumsy than the average kind of person, I think having a medical assessment or minor injury unit would be brilliant. Well, Ger, I just want to say thanks very much for coming on to the podcast. It has been a pleasure talking to you. And as I said,
and hopefully if we get elected, we can do this on a regular basis or something like that, and keep an upkeep.
Definitely.
Doing stuff and that we're getting things done around the.
Oh, definitely. We do have plans, folks, to bring you going forward, to bring you monthly meeting with some of your local councillors to give you updates on what's going on in the town, because I think it'll give you a better insight of what your councillors are doing for the Cobh local electoral area, and that goes to our listeners up in Waterloo, Grasshill, Knockgraha, Carrick-2, Little Island. The message we're trying to get out to you folks is that we want to show what your county councillors are doing for you. So folks, that wraps up this episode of Jacked Up Politics. This has been the interview with Ger Curley. Ger would appreciate it very, very much if you could give him your number one preference, or the next highest preference if you would so indulgent. So thanks very much, folks. This has been Jacked Up Politics. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. This here feels so right. Leave your fears in the rear view. Right now on the mission, trying to stay the course on this road to redemption. Giving up seems tempting.